Okay, folks, welcome back to our Mage Night game. Uh, we've got a little bit of bookkeeping and all to take care of here and a couple of mistakes to correct. One of them being, y'all will remember, when I was doing the math earlier during combat, I did not realize that I had taken 2 wounds during that combat instead of just the 1. So when I replaced my hand, I dealt out the cards. This swiftness should not have come into my hand because I should have only drawn 3 instead of 4 with the 2 wounds. If I had realized I was going to take 2 wounds, I probably wouldn't have done the combat, but hey, c'est la guerre, right? We can't withdraw it and rewind time. As we saw earlier, you can rewind time and do things in this game as long as you haven't revealed information. In this case, we re-rolled a die here and we drew out cards. So new information has been revealed, so we can't back it up and decide we aren't going to attack. So the swiftness card was the last one I drew. It will go back on top of the deck here. And we will have these as our hand. Next up, we're going to look right over here. And as you see, we have leveled up. We were up to 4 fame points now, which means that we have leveled. Let me get this mana here. So you look on the row and we take a look. We show a card and we show the little skill icon. So what that means is the card means that we get to take one of these advanced skills here. And looking at the 2, I am thinking we are probably gonna take the Blood Rage. I'm trying to figure out, originally I took the Blood Rage here, but I'm thinking I may take the Regeneration instead now that we have taken those wounds. So the Blood Rage gives me an attack 2, and I can take a wound to go to attack 5. If I play it with the red power, I can take an attack 4 and take a wound to go to attack 9. That is a very powerful card. But I'm actually thinking I may go with the regeneration. The regeneration gives me a heal 1 and ready a level 1 or level 2 unit I control, which at the moment I don't own any. If I use a green mana, I heal 2 and then ready a 1, 2, or 3 unit. And then Crushing Bolt, of course, is gain a green crystal or do a siege attack 3. Remember, once again, that in this particular scenario, what we're trying to do is keep playing these terrain tiles over here until we have actually find the city, which means we have to get through the green tiles, and we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more green tiles we have to lay down before we can start laying down the brown back tiles. And it can be, they were all mixed at random, so it could be any one of these. It could be the first one, it could be the last one. So we've got at least 5 more green tiles that we have to get through. So we really need to be moving and exploring over here. So I am thinking that what we will probably do, I like the attack. What have I got in my hand? Right now in my hand, I've got the 2 wounds. I've got the Cold Toughness, which gives me an attack 2. I've got, or a block. I've got the March, which gives me move 2 or move 4. And Threaten, which gives me influence 2 or influence 5. If I actually play that one, I can play that and then a couple of these, and I could move. On my next turn, I could move 4. Is that a green? Yeah, that's a green, isn't it? I could move 4 and play 1 to play another card there and get another on the board. That's what I'm thinking I may do here as far as my action goes. So I think with that in mind, what I am probably going to do is I think I am going to go ahead and we are going to take, but see, there's the Magic Glade too. If you end your turn on a Magic Glade, you throw away a wound card from your hand. And that will get me in position to take on, that would get me in position, if I move on to that glade, I could take on the I think it's that a poison hag. I'll have to take a look and see which kind of orc that is, but that's a poison orc. And they have a 5, so I would need an attack of 5 to take them on, and I would need a block of 3. Decisions. If I do that, then I really want to take the Blood Rage and play it with a red, which I don't have a red, but I have the gold there, which would give me an attack of 4. Ice attack 2 or ice block 3. All I would need to block would be a 3. I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. Instead of using a card for that, we've got the magical glade here. So I am going to use Blood Rage. I'm going to go ahead with my initial draw, and we're going to take Blood Rage as our advanced tactic. Now, unlike some deck builders, when you take this card, a lot of deck builders, you would throw it over here in your discard pile. And you would never see this card until you had finished using up all your hand and then shuffled it back out of your, shuffled it up and then eventually dealt it back. In Mage Knight here, when you get an advanced, one of the advanced actions, you immediately turn it face down and put it on top of your deck. So it's going to be the next card we draw out is going to be the Blood Rage. So we know that's coming. Thanks for someone to reminding me. Once you've done this, you go from the top down, you drop it down, fill in the slots, and pull out the next card, which is a Swift Bolt, which is get a white crystal or do a ranged attack of 4. That is a nice card. Boy, that and the swiftness, and I could start shooting, I could start taking out orcs with ranged attacks, and that would be very nice. Okay, the next thing we need to do, that's got our advanced tactic. The next part we have to do is we have to draw one of our skills. So we take the top 2 off of the stack here, and you flip them over and look at them. And of these 2, we get to pick 1. So in this case, I'm going to get this right here. We've got a choice of, this one is Shield Mastery. So once a turn, we can use this skill to block 3 or ice block 2 or fire block 2. And our attack skill that we have a choice of is Night Sharpshooting. So we get a +1 ranged attack during the day or a +2 ranged attack at night. I actually like that block because that gives me a 3 block there without having to spend any other cards on it. So just that card right there, and I could block the orc over here with a 3. I'm going to take that. That is going to become our new skill. I will put it right here to help remind me of it. This skill goes over in the common pool. Now, in a multiplayer game, they would get the choice now. Other people would get the choice of buying this skill whenever it's their turn. We can't, once we've discarded it, we can't use it. So we turn it upside down. But we do take a skill off the top of the dummy player and flip it. And this will now go over there in the common, and we'll have a choice when we want to of possibly buying that. And this skill is Bright Negotiation. So once a turn, we can get a +3 influence during the daytime or a +2 influence at night. So that'll go over there, and that will be a choice for us that we can decide on whenever we level up again. If we make it up here to level 4, we could possibly take that as one of our skills. Okay, let me see if there's anything else I need to do. We don't flip any of these yet. That'll be if we level up again. When the next time, if we can get up to 8 skill points, we level up again, and that time we'll flip our ability here. So we don't do that yet. I'm going to take a look. We re-rolled all the dice. We dealt out our cards. We have taken and reset those. I'm going to take a quick look to make sure there's nothing else that I need to get prepared for the next turn. Not round, turn. Remember, we take our turns until it's over with, and then the day round ends and the night round begins. Trying to get this terminology down. Okay, so I'm going to take a look, and I will be right back, and we will continue on into the next turn. I've got one more thing I need to correct here. When I was drawing out my cards, we've already thrown the swiftness back because we have 2 wounds and we can't we can't on our hand size when we're dealing out. You're allowed to have more than your hand size, but when you're refilling, you can only go up to your hand size. So I already threw the swiftness back on top of the deck because of that. The other thing that I didn't do is that you deal after, we leveled up and we took Blood Rage, and it was sitting on top of our deck here. Well, you refill your hand up at the end of the turn after you do all that. So the march has to go back as well, because we should have ended up with the Blood Rage in our hand instead of the march. So now we've got the cold toughness, the threaten, the Blood Rage, and 2 wounds. So having the Blood Rage instead of the movement is definitely going to change our strategy for this upcoming round here. Sorry, upcoming turn in this next round. So now looking at the state of it, I've got an attack or a block, I've got an influence, and I've got another attack. But the Blood Rage gives me good attack, but you also have to take wounds. And that's not something I want to do right this second. So I'm thinking, since I moved up here to this village, I moved Tovak up here, and I was looking at the various things we could do over here. I don't have any movement in my hand, so what I'm thinking I'm going to do is use some influence and see if I can buy a unit. And because of the damage that I have in my hand, the damage I've already taken, I am thinking now that I am going to take the herbalist up here that have the 3 that I need a 3 influence for. And what I can do that, I can play threaten, gives me an influence of 2. If I play a mana, like if I were going to play the gold as a red and put it on there, it would give me an influence of 5, but I would lose a reputation. And I'm thinking what I would do instead is, yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I'm gonna hold on. I was thinking I would take the Blood Rage and play it and get it out of my hand and hope that I could take a couple of, get maybe a movement card or something to get some movement underway. But I think instead, what I'm going to do, and this may just be a mistake, maybe I should have played all my cards and dealt a whole brand new hand to myself. But these are, as we've said before, the questions that you run into, the various influences that you run into here in this particular thing. Hang on one second. I wanted to switch this light over here. How does this change the lighting? There we go. Yeah, I was wanting to get rid of the glare over here. So I changed a couple of lights. And I think that's a little better. We no longer have the light shining off the cards over here. Okay, that's what I do. I'm going to hang on to the Blood Rage, hope maybe that I get some movement, and that will allow us, but I need 3 points. Remember, it's daytime in the forest. I'm going to need 3 points to get here. That is a lot of movement to count on coming off of the top of that deck there. But if we can get it, it'll be good. That's what I'll do. I'll use the threaten. I will use the Blood Rage to get a 3. No, we'll hold on to the Blood Rage. We'll use the threaten. I will use the gold mana as a wild card. Gives me an influence of 5. I can get the herbalist with a 3. Do I want to burn a mana, or do I just want to throw a... I'll throw the cold toughness. It gives me a block of 3, and I need a block of 3 if I go against the poison hag over here. Is that what that is? I think that's what it's called. If I go against the poison hag orcs, I need a curse tag, because this little thing down here, it looks like a creeper, is a poison. That means it does extra wounds to you if you don't block it. So I'm going to use the block instead of burning one of the mana, and that's a nice mana to have because it can be anything. I'll use influence of 3, turn this one sideways. That gives me influence of 2, play this one sideways, gives me an influence of 3. And now I can take the Herbalist. So I'm going to take the Herbalist. We'll bring them down here. And I can control 1 unit because of my command card there. Remember, whenever we level up again and get to take this off and flip it, then we'll control 2 units. Okay. So we've got the Herbalist. I didn't do any movement this turn. I've taken my action. It would be nice to be able to use this heal here and take a mana, but we've already used our action in recruiting them. So I can't use another action to now use the heal. So I am thinking that right there is probably my last action that I can take this particular turn. Now that we've done that, end of my turn, let's clear up my space. These go into the discard. So we get them out of play until we run through our hand and shuffle everything back together again. I've got nothing else I've used. I didn't use any mana to roll, so I deal out, take my hand back to a size of 5. Of course, we've got the 2 wounds, so let's see what the next 2 are. Surprise, surprise, a March and a Swiftness. So we got a lot of movement this turn and very little attack, but we'll see how that goes there. Now, if I wanted to push my luck and take another wound, that's an option. That's an option. So we got the March and we got the Swiftness. I'm going to pull these down here. Then we need to do the next 3 on the dummy. So we've got 1, we've got a 2, and now the all-important 3rd card, which is Concentration. Doesn't really matter what it is. What does matter is that is a green icon. It has a green mana token symbol on it. And our dummy player here, Miss Gnarlo, has a green token on his card. So that means we have to flip over 1 extra card. Now it's a green too, but that doesn't matter. We don't just keep, it's not an open-ended. You don't just keep flipping cards until he's empty or until you don't get it. You just do it the 1 time on that 3rd card. So you see the turn counter sped up a little bit here. Okay, our next turn. Now, we have got a hand here with an awful lot of movement in it. In fact, we got movement 4, and then the attack there. In fact, if we use that green, we'll have a movement 4, and we can go ahead and move, and then we've got cards that we could attack with. We can attack a 5, and then we could heal 2. We could heal 3 because we'll be on that circle there. I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's see how this plays out. If I play the March with power with a green mana, that gives us a move of 4. We need a 3 to move into that forest hex. So we can move with 3 to move there. Okay. Then once we have moved there, we've got the Cursed Hag. And the Cursed Hag has a defense of 5. Okay, first of all, am I going to have enough block? Yes. First of all, we do any ranged. And we have a ranged of 3, but we don't have any ranged to play it with. You know, the Swiftness gives us a 3. We've seen that, but you can't use these to add to range. We could only add range to range. So instead, we're not going to be able to do a ranged attack. So the Cursed Hag, the Cursed Hag will attack us first. They have a 3 attack. We will use our skill here to get a 3 block. Let me take a look, make sure I'm reading this correctly. I don't want to have to redo this turn. Yeah, once a turn, we can do a block 3, ice block 2, or fire block 3. So we automatically block with our skill, we block that attack. So they don't do any damage to us. Now we attack them, we've got to get a 5. So this is where we go into this section now. We've already played that, we've used our skill. Let's put the Blood Rage down here. It gets us an automatic 2. and we need a 5. So if we play a red, oh, we've already played a mana. Ah, you see what I'm talking about? See what I talk about here? Okay, that's what we won't attack then. We haven't revealed any new information. We haven't rolled any dice. We haven't played or flipped any cards that weren't already flipped over. That's an attack of 3, so we'll have to wait till next turn to do that. We'll have to wait till next turn to do that. So what we do is we will end our turn there. We re-roll this die. Okay, and we got another gold. Okay, so we got 2 wilds now. This goes into the discard stack. As such, we redraw into our hand. Remember, we got 4 here. We got the swiftness. We got the blood rage. Let's see what we get into our hand now. Stamina, more movement, but we can use this as, you know, additions to the attack. So if we were to, oh, well, there you go. I didn't have to play a minute. All right, let's back up. Oh, we can't back it up because I've already done this. See, if I'd taken a wound like I was going to, my attack would have been a 5, and I would have taken it. If I hadn't have drawn this card, now that I've drawn this card, I can't take the turn back. Ugh! At least I know what I'll do next time. I won't have to spend any of the cards to get it. And I'll have a lot of movement in my hand, and we can move on and get the next tile untyped. I've got to learn to read all the cards. I've got to learn to pay attention to the cards. So many of these games and so many of the problems that we've had, mistakes we've made in things, is not following along and doing everything, paying attention to everything that the card says. So we've got that. I've ended my turn, and if you are on a magical glade, you end your turn, you can throw away a wound card. So since we're on the glade, I can take one of the wound cards and throw it out, so my hand has only got the 1 wound in it now. Now let me take a look and see, do I do that before I replenish what comes into my hand? That would make sense, because the last thing that you do is replenish. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a quick look at the rules order over there. I'll be right back. And yes, the rule book on page 9 says that using a magical glade is step 4A, and drawing new cards is step 7. So that wound gets taken out of my hand before I draw a new card, so I get another space to draw another card. And we've got Crystallize this time, which allows us to get crystals into our inventory. Those are the crystals that you take out, not mana deck, but you put them on your actual player card here and use them anytime. They don't go away at the end like the dice do. So there you go. That's the end of our turn. Let's play the... Oh, I've already played the dummy hands because we had the green, so they went on over. So there you go. That is the end of the state of the board this time around. Next time, we will be attacking those orcs, I think. Do we have the stuff? Yes. I can take a wound and increase the attack to a 5, can't I? And then I can get rid of that wound again. I'll still be carrying 1 instead of carrying 2. So it's gonna, we're starting to do a little push our luck with the wounds here. So we'll see how that works out. Remember, we still have the herbalist over here too that we can use to heal if we have to. Okay, thanks for coming along. If I've made any mistakes, I know there's going to be tactical mistakes, like always, like when I forgot that I could take a wound to get that blood rage to a 5. You know, if I'd taken that wound like I was thinking, I could have got that, and we would have killed off those orcs last time. So, tell me about tactical mistakes too, but if I've made any actual rule mistakes, let me know. And I will see y'all for the next video. Whoops, 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 whoops. We didn't reset this, did we? So, okay. So taking a look at the things we replenished, these are the one exception. If you remember, whenever I took the tactic here, if I bought a tactic in a multiplayer game, if I bought a tactic, we would have slid one down, put another tactic. If you got a spell, you slide one down, put another one. Units don't work that way. So it's like first come, first serve. So if I was playing with a real secondary player, if the dummy player was a real player, he'd only have these two things to choose from this turn. However, at the beginning of the next turn, is that correct? At the beginning of the next turn, interacting in a village, yes. As they recur, the unit only gets replenished to its full amount at the start of the next round. Okay, so when it comes to nighttime, we replenish these cards whenever the round changes. Whenever the turn changes, it doesn't matter. So we're going to end up still with the 2 units there. Okay, so everything is good now. And I'll see you as we start the next turn.